the quick Bytes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing exchange of thoughts between all registered attendees amongst us with the topic that is 21st century belongs to Asia and the GCC.
Starting with demographics, 17% of global population belongs to India, 35% belong to China and India together, and every second person globally resides in Asia. Three of the top 7 economies in the world are from Asia.
People are becoming very much aware thanks to our social media, internet access, which is very good for everyone. So I think undoubtedly the software engineers from India are all over the world, the expats are there, Singapore is the most rising country.
The manufacturing which we never had earlier has been started to be utilized to the maximum potential. Thus, what I actually think has actually changed is that we actually started to use a lot of natural resources which was not being used earlier, which has started to be used right now. And that's the reason why I actually think right now that we have a great opportunity.
There's a tremendous stress on the limited resources which we have. Now, obviously, that compels us to be more innovative, and innovation has to come from this part of the continent. China, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, India are taking the lead. So obviously, you'll find that a lot of innovation and invention is going to come in the near future.
The reason why Asia is going to lead, and especially India, is because we have the largest amount of talent that rests with us, and the youngest amount of talent. So tomorrow belongs to us, and it's about time that we, kind of grab it with both hands.
The reason why I feel that right now the 21st century belongs to Asia is neither to do with the population nor the geography. If you look at how businesses have evolved over the last few years, almost all of them are geared up towards the consumer. From being a seller's market, it's now become a consumer's market. And if you look at it, Asia has got one thing that's really, really powerful and something that binds all of us together. And that's really the culture that we have. We've always had the culture of hospitality, of literally looking at everyone as a guest and treating them very well.
The UAE is a hub, right? So the UAE is a massive, important global hub. And if you're going to lead the world as Asia, you have to connect to the world. And the UAE is both a transport hub and for travel and transit of goods, plays a massive role for Asia. Another important role for the GCC is that through energy historically, we've built up quite a bit of capital. And the transition that the GCC has made is saying, hey, let's not just think about investing that capital generally. Let's start focusing on new technologies and using that capital to move forward in terms of technology and sustainability. So the type of leadership steps that you see the UAE and even Saudi also starting to do in terms of investing in blockchain, investing in driverless technology, all of these investments that the GCC is doing are going to do a great amount in terms of building up that future.
Take brands. Now, if you take global, the best brands, out of the first 10, only 2 brands are from this region, Samsung and Toyota. The most valued brands, there's only again 2 brands, Samsung and the Chinese bank. And this particular event is really is on brands. And I feel strongly, since this region has 60% of the population, must develop brands. And that's something which can enhance the growth of this region much faster.
The gap between the East and the West is closing very quickly. If 19th century was a British century, 20th century was an American century, it looks like the 21st century is moving to become an Asian century.
If you think about the challenge of Asia, especially South Asia, how we can create the capability of the people, because we have number of population, as everybody is saying, which is a huge population. But I personally feel that how we can truly convert these people into the right resource and asset. And if you can truly convert into the asset, definitely Asia is going to rock down the line.
The market is big, talent availability is big, education level has increased, and that gives the edge. And over and above, because of the technology developed by worldwide leaders, Asian people have acquired their skill to implement and to apply the techniques for the betterment of the industry, business, service sector.
Mahatma Gandhi said, if you have to be in the future, you have to do the right things in the present. So the government is doing that. In fact, we all know about India is moving fast on the Make in India concept and Digital India. And skill development is also a major force, wherein the huge population which is below the age of 35 is unskilled today. So skill development is one of the initiatives which has been done.
In our domestic market, tea is the largest consuming beverage. Almost 90% of Indians drink tea in some form or the other. As far as export is concerned, India's export has grown tremendously in the last few decades, from the mid-70s till date. From 200 million kg, now we are exporting almost 982 million of kg.
As we all know, according to the World Bank, India is the largest inward remittance country receiver, with more than $63 billion yearly last year. So, and coming at the same time, we have Pakistan, China, Philippines, and Bangladesh, one of the top 10 countries also. So when you look at all the remittances that are going to Asia from the GCC area, you were talking about very large numbers, very large volumes.
That Asia has the biggest and the youngest manforce with the skilled and talented minds, which are actually not just developing the new technologies, are the biggest hub for manufacturing and providing the world global services, but it's also making the world a better place to live in.
If the 21st century, I'm adding the caveat of if there, if the 21st century has to belong to Asia and the GCC, then it's not the strategic waterways that have to be ruled, it's the digital e-ways that have to be ruled. So, and that's not going to happen with just a few smatterings of initiatives. I think initiatives like the ones which have been launched recently, where the UAE wants to create, 1 million Arab coders, the fact that there's so much of skill India and, so many of such initiatives happening in India. So I think it takes a concerted effort. All these countries, major brain power coming together, ensuring that we all get together and come up with a coherent strategy of trying to control the digital e-ways. And I think that's where real leadership and thought leadership will lie in the 21st century.